All right, while we're setting up, maybe we use the chance that you on stage here introduce yourself. We have Felix Hanisch already. Felix, you're from the NAMUR. Maybe you want to explain a little what the NAMUR is for those who are not from process industries.
Excellent. So those familiar with the process industry know that NAMUR is the leading association of the users of automation in the process industry. So we have a long history of combining our industry interests in process automation and really want to be a partner to our suppliers so that we get the products that we need in the process industry for automation.
So you have a close connection to all those who really work in process industries and have a good feeling of what's necessary in the market.
Exactly. We have 160 member companies, and what's important is that the companies themselves are members, not just the individuals, and so we have a big buying power behind us also, and that's why I think we are a partner that's also appreciated by the suppliers.
And we appreciate a lot that you join here this panel this afternoon, so thank you very much. And I come over to one of the members of NAMUR, of course, Hille from GEA.
Yes, my name is Hille from GEA, and I'm responsible for automation controls, separation, compression. And today we brought a machine with us here. You can see on the Siemens booth. So next to all the automation things here, just some metal and the machine building.
All right. Axel, we already have seen you here on stage. We definitely know that you're an expert in process industries. We have another colleague up here on stage, Steffen Stang. Maybe you want to explain what you're responsible for, Steffen.
Warm welcome from my side. I'm working with Siemens AG and I'm responsible for the product management, SIMATIC, engineering and control. And I'm more than happy here with our customers today to discuss about the challenges, especially for process industries and also standardization around NAMUR.
All right, perfect. I've invited our visitors here to take a seat. I would like to invite you as well to take a seat. The day's hard enough. You've been all day at the fair. And we want to talk about future technologies and business models. What are future requirements of plant operators in process industries? That's one of the first topics I would like to ask. Felix, maybe?
Yeah, what we see in the process industry is really a change in how we design our plants. So the traditional way, and you still see that in the big petrochemical facilities, is to build huge complexes, but that often has a long period of time of engineering and system integration. And especially for our partners in the pharmaceutical world, for example, modular plant engineering is really the trend, because we see a much faster time to market if we build plants in a modular way. And in order to do that, we really also need concepts for modular automation. And that's where we joined up NAMUR together with the suppliers, saying, let's define a concept, how to design a modular automation system, and that's a module type package, a really fascinating development.
Fascinating development that comes to GEA and Hille. How does the topic modular production affect the business of a machine or a plant builder like GEA?
Yes, so modularization itself is not a new topic for us, but what we see is that our customers are more and more interested in especially the communication. So if we talk about modules, we always think in mechanical equipment somehow. But now this electrical communication becomes more and more interesting, and this is what we really observe. And GEA, for instance, is building a lot of machines which are modules in large process lines. And what we also see in the market at the moment, that several industries really thinking about or even working on definition of standards. And because we do not want to maintain 25 different standards, so we really would like to support the NAMUR initiative, that we really maybe align to one common standard for the modules. And there we see really a big success for future.
As a system supplier, Steffen, what is our role, Siemens, for example, a trustful partner like GEA?
Yeah, first of all, I want to say as a product and system supplier, I mean, we are extremely happy to work with and collaborate with GEA as a trustful partner to demonstrate such advantages of MTP. And our goal has to be really to lead together with NAMUR and our customers based on their requirements such as standardization. So our products need to be developed in a way that our customers really can shorten their time to market. And GEA is now obviously able to transfer all detailed information like interfaces, module properties, etc., in a standardized format. And this really helps them to shape and even faster time to market for the product development phases, and integrating this much more easy in plans and higher level of systems.
I already hear something about an acceptance test which has been running, what we are using. Maybe Dieter, you want to say something about this?
Yeah, if you see, for example, our acceptance test, then this is also something we can do before. Yes, so when we really develop this new MTP standard, we are able to test it before and really to standardize this. And this, of course, gives us also maybe the chance, for example, when you talk about alarm handling and notification handling and these things, that we really can define this in the standard and at least provide our customers with our internal know-how regarding this.
And I think what's really fascinating is a paradigm shift that we see. When we used to integrate modules like from GEA or other equipment suppliers in the past, we would really go down to the individual bit and byte to specify what signal is coming how into the overlaying orchestration or DCS system. And now we really design these modules and equipments with services. And so I don't need to know which valve I need to open. I just need to tell the equipment, provide me a certain separation performance, for example, and can call up the module and ask for that service. And in the end, then I can do that with several different equipment suppliers. And really, I am engineering on a much more abstract level, which is much faster and much more comprehensive. Yep.
Which is a perfect word for Axel. How can Siemens bring these requirements together of machine builders and plant operators?
We actually show that right here on the booth. Mr. Hille rightfully said we have the separator right next to the KC model. And the separator is a perfect example how we, even Siemens internally, can use that standardization. The separator is engineered and automated with a TIA portal and a 1500 using an MTP, a module type package. And this is seamlessly integrated without additional engineering in the overall DCS PCS7. So that is an example how those things work together. In this particular case, very seamlessly with all products from Siemens, but we could also integrate package units from a different vendor.
Exactly.
And of course, the MTP based on TIA Portal could also integrate into DCS of other vendors. Not very likely, but it could happen theoretically. And that is a precondition if you look, for example, at the pharma booth, where Bart Morse and his team are presenting the integration of all the package units in order to provide the transparency in electronic batch recording, the quality of the recording, the depth of the recording, the speed of going to market, of time to market, is significantly increased by that standardization. And MTP is helping us to provide productivity to our customers.
Yeah. And that's a good point. I mean, since you bring up pharma, me myself coming from a also pharma company from Bayer, we have colleagues who are also active in the pharmaceutical engineering organization, the ISP. And they were on a path where they said, we need to simplify what they called plug and produce. We want to have a tablet press or a packaging line that we can just plug into our MES and not worry about the details. So they started thinking about how could we design that, how could we specify that. And that's where, with the initiative that we had ongoing with NAMUR and ZVEI, for example, already we said, guys, we already have a technical solution. Why don't you focus on the pharma-specific requirements and make use of the technological concept that we have already brought along? And so I think there's a number of streams going in the same direction. The request that I hear of the equipment suppliers, of course, is now also we as the users need to buy it now also. And I think we have good demonstration use cases now. We also have colleagues in Evonik, in Merck, who have designed their first own modular plants and making use of it. But it's really ready to go now.
And we as a machine builder are also interested that we now have something where we can improve the order clarification. So in the past we had a lot of discussion, okay, how should it work exactly? And what Mr. Hanisch pointed out, in the end we were talking about each bit, how should it work and be transferred. Yeah. And now we really have a chance that we have an aligned standard, then we also are able to have an aligned specification And that really shortens also the effort on our side, yeah, and at least the customer is happy, and we have a plug and produce solution. Yeah.
Maybe it's worthwhile to also add another aspect on top of that. We have the modular production is one topic, and the other element is the data access question. So the other concept that we try to promote there is the NAMUR open architecture. How can we get data into the cloud or into other monitoring and optimization applications without having to route all the data through the DCS? I mean, we love the DCS, but for certain applications it can also be a bottleneck. And so I think that is also a good combination.
But right to what Mr. Hille said, we're not only standardizing the object in the engineering, we also know how to simulate it, and we can reuse the simulation. So we can significantly speed up, as you said, the time for clarification, for engineering, for testing, and commissioning as well. And that will bring us faster to market.
When we talk about simulation, we come to data, we come to cloud, and we come to MindSphere, Steffen.
Yeah, but first of all, I also would like to mention that it is really important to do this together with our customers. I mean, Siemens also changed the approach how we now develop in these days our products. So we really looking into much more co-creation to be very, very close with our customers already during the design and development phase, that we exactly building the products our customers are looking for. Yeah, and of course, and MindSphere, as you said, is certainly what Mr. Hanisch also mentioned already. So we're looking into complete new business models, new ideas for services, and obviously data is certainly a key, and our products already offer a wide variety of interfaces to MindSphere, so which makes it very simple for machine builders, for example, to already come up with new service ideas around maybe quality improvements, predictive maintenance, or just maybe even to save certain resources, for example, like energy.
Yeah, these are at least the business models also which are important for us. Yes, so up to now we are just used to sell what I mentioned in the beginning, stainless steel and machines, but now we are also able to sell different automation solutions, services. So what we also see that is a growing demand of database services in the market. Customer asks for this. GEA already provides different solutions like we have condition monitoring and these things, But I think there are even more ideas, and especially with NAMUR open architecture, we can define certain standards here, and then provide several steps for our customer, like maybe intelligent notification, intelligent alarming, and then of course intelligent process optimization and so on. So really different modules.
And
maybe you want to say something about NOAA. Not everybody here knows what it stands for.
Right, so the NAMUR open architecture concept, and that's very important in that context, is a secure way of getting data out of your classical automation pyramid, basically. So how do you access a certain device, or in this case a whole equipment, basically, that exposes its data model in a standardized fashion, again without me having to specify every bit and byte, but also ensuring security. We introduced the idea of an information diode, so targeted direction of information flow, and that is a concept that is still in development, but it's for us crucial that security is built in. Yeah, and that's also where I think we jointly still have a little bit of work to do when we say NOAA inside, NAMUR open architecture inside as a product label. It also needs to fulfill certain requirements that we are jointly specifying now, so that this security promise is also given and held up. Yeah, and so that's something where we look at to how could we test that, how could we qualify that, but then that is the basis for business models. Right. If we look at our operations, we further and further streamline basically what we want to take care of, right? We are strong in R&D, developing new products. We are strong in running an operation, but we may not be the best guys to run a separator, for example. Yeah, and so these types of services is something we are interested in, that somebody else monitors that.
You said plug and play. That means it's ready to use, but for me, process industries, it's always like huge plants. It's nothing which is ready to use, plug and play, and you implement it and it's running.
Oh, actually we do. Actually we do today. In little pieces, like with a compact field unit, we would plug in an instrument and the DCS would automatically understand this is a flow meter, will give parameters, and it's plug and produce. And now we want to take the next step, and we really want to define package units based on standard modules where there is a very limited effort to pre-configure, and then we plug and produce.
Yeah.
It is a way, we're not there yet, but I think the demos that we have here on the booth are pretty much the best thing in that direction you can see today.
And if you want to witness it, not only in the Siemens environment, I make a little commercial for our joint booth that we have with the ZVEI, NAMUR, ISPE, the VDMA, actually as the Association of the Equipment Builders in Hall 11, booth D44. You can actually witness it. Yeah? We have several different equipments on stage. We have GEA there, we have a dosing station there, we have a filter station there, we have a thermal unit there, and you can really see how you import the module, how it brings along its own graphical representation, how it exposes its data model. And if any of you have ever witnessed a guy configuring a DCS system, this is really convincing because it's really close to what you do with your printer at home. The device, the equipment brings along its intelligence, and you don't have to worry about it. It's really a big step forward.
It's really amazing, and that might lead us to new business models. I mean, if the old technology or the old products or the old way of working is getting so easy now, you have to think, or you have time to think on some other stuff. So what could that be?
Sure. I mean, we explored a little bit the idea of remote services or the after-sales service around the equipment. I would start one element earlier. You also mentioned it, and then also when I visited GEA in Oelde earlier this year, we discussed about the lengthy discussions that you have with some of your customers. And I mean, it goes down to the color of wires, that some of the customers want to have, and it has to be a blue wire for this signal and so on. And that's just waste if you think about it. And so from that end, I think we both can save money and share the profit. That's definitely something we look forward to.
Yeah, that's the same I see it. So the one thing are business models, but at the moment I just see the efficiency of this. Yes, so as you mentioned on the NAMUR booth, you really can see that within minutes, you can create this MTP module and transfer it or import it into the SCADA system. So this is something where we otherwise have to send engineers for 3 weeks to somewhere to discuss this with the process line engineer. And this is what I see at the moment. But of course, if I look to the future, there are a lot of business models we can then pack into this MTP and sell it to our customers.
If I also maybe look at the, I mean, where do we make money, right? Especially in the pharma world, time to market is everything, right? Once you have a new molecule, once you have, you need to scale it up for the clinical tests, and then you need to bring it into production as quickly as possible. And I mean, every week counts. So if we have pre-tested modules, and that's what our pharma colleagues in the ISPE are currently looking into, if we could have as a next extension a pre-qualified, a pre-validated module that meets all the GMP requirements, I mean, that would take out months of the development process. That's still looking into the future, but that again would be a big lever.
From what I heard from the GEA separator, which we are showcasing there with Cathay, our customer from China, together, it was not even that long of a process what it took to kind of realize the project we are exhibiting there. Maybe Steffen, you or Dieter, you want to say something about that? It's actually the machine we see up here, that's the separator right behind us. A little later again it appears.
I think it didn't take very long because we had, of course, good collaboration with Siemens, with our technology partner here, and I think we organized a lot of things during some bypass channels to really get this solution here. And but in the end, this is not a rocket science. I think the main thing here is just the alignment on a standard on one way. And I think this is the core thing here.
But in principle, I think it's really, GEA already does have all these process know-how and has developed and integrated this into individual modules in the past. And now I think of like MTP, it is very easy really to integrate this then into a higher level system. And so I think that's why there is still some work to do for sure. I mean, we are more or less on the beginning of the journey, but overall, I think it's quite simple then and easy to accomplish all these tasks.
I think what's also worthwhile to mention is, I mean, if you think of standardization, I mean, my picture was always a bunch of gray-haired guys being locked away in a room somewhere, writing down long papers.
Lists, lots of Excel spreadsheets.
Exactly, and then coming back out and saying, this is the wisdom we have, please manufacturers build according to the standard. And the approach here was completely different. Very early on, we said we need the supplier side, we need the user side, we need the equipment manufacturers, and actually build joint teams in co-creating these standards as we were piloting the solutions. And I think only that allowed us to gain some speed.
Absolutely.
And then at some point of time, the solution was so mature that you could actually write a standard of it that goes in parallel as we work on further features.
The effort is in defining the standard. Once we have the standard, the engineering of a demo like that is just engineering because a lot of clarification is gone. And that speeds up the processes. But you know, working on the standards took a lot of time and will take a lot of time. We do have the automation at the HMI, and now we have to talk about the batch functionality, the safety functionality, the MES functionality, maybe the web functionality, you know, the maybe AE functionality, artificial intelligence. So there is a lot to do, but there's still a lot of potential to become better and better.
Yep.
And if we tap on all of that potential, we will be much more productive altogether.
Out of curiosity, I mean, I imagine the NAMUR, you come together like once every quarter with your members. How is that work looking like?
No, it's actually also in these projects we meet much more often, and of course use online collaboration tools rather than coming together. I mean, the big event is always beginning of November, our annual meeting in Bad Neuenahr, but this type of work really needs teleconferences every other week, and there's a lot of people who are very dedicated, who put in a lot of effort here and make it happen. We also support it with accompanying innovation projects, for example, from the member companies, where we also involve universities. TU Dresden, Hamburg is very engaged, and a number of other colleagues. And I think with these different resources, we can really push this forward.
It's actually quite interesting that you also mentioned this. Chancellor Merkel mentioned it, that we definitely have to work together, that nobody can think they can do this transformation into digitalization on their own. It's joint forces and also using people and young forces from completely different worlds, because they think different and bring in new ideas. So startups, any startups you're working together with?
Well, actually, out of the initiative, a startup was founded that was just actually started last month. I think Semodia they are called, and they basically used the concept of modular automation to create a business model on it, and basically offer as a service this modular plant design and also the modular automation solution to it. Actually, a quite nice side effect, if you like. But I want to go back to the openness also. And I mean, it's always been our requirement as an end user that we want open standards interoperability. And in the past, we were always felt locked in, especially by the big DCS suppliers. Once you had one solution, you stuck with it at least for 10, 15 years. And I think it is being understood that you cannot protect your market that way. You need to protect your market by being competitive, having competitive solutions, and that means also easy integration of other suppliers and solutions, and that's happening now, and I think that's going in the right direction. And I mean, you appreciate it as well.
Yes, of course. Yes. So at the moment, our situation is we are at least the user of this MTP. So normally we just could sit back and wait, what will happen, but we also now take the opportunity really to support this initiative because it brings us a lot of advantages. On the other hand, of course, we now get also to know a lot of our customers, the automation people of our customers. So this is really interesting, and it makes sense to support these initiatives, especially for networking.
That's great. That's actually great statements as a wrap-up. In matter of coming back to our title of the panel discussion, Quo Vadis, Process Industries, what's your guess? Where are we maybe in the next 5 years?
Well, we will be much more standardized on the MTP, the technological object level, and that will provide completely new opportunities because we will save time in that standard engineering and we can dedicate that time to digitalization, and that will give us new insights, new opportunities, new business models.
Felix?
So from my point of view, I think we will see both. We still will see the classical big chemical plant where reliability and safety is the focus, but then building efficiency on top. and then a full new suite of more agile, flexible manufacturing concepts, and that's actually supported by NAMUR open architecture and the model type package.
Thank you.
I also think that we will see more of these standards, that we really save time during commissioning and these things. And what I really like here is, especially for our software engineers, that in future they do not programming, that they do orchestration. So that
which is a really nice word.
That is a nice word, yeah.
Yeah, as we heard, we might have not looked like that open in the past, but we certainly, we changed completely our mindset. I think we want to really be open, we want to follow these standards, and we really see this as an advantage. So if our products are designed and developed in a way that customers get maximum advantage out of it, I think then even standardization is for us probably a great opportunity, even into new spaces, into new fields we might have not could reach out before with our product. So that's why I think this is certainly why I'm with Axel, that this will be our way for the future.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So it seems like the future is bright. The path to the future is made. We just need to step on it and be brave enough to use agile new ways, work together, collaborate. I think we proved that really very, very good here with NAMUR, with GEA as our customer, showing great examples and exhibits at our fair booth. And let's wrap that up. Thank you very much. Really super interesting process industries, a great topic, and always cool to see what we are offering here. So thank you very much for coming, for the contribution. Big hand of applause to you.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Siemens, ingenuity for life.